Conception trauma is a thing and birth trauma is a thing. Have an elaborate way of releasing the trauma, actually getting to the trauma. And by clearing this birth trauma, now it can go into the next generation and the next generation. Any work that you do visualizing before conception is connecting in with superconscious. Then at conception, superconscious is the knowledge of how the situation around conception. So conception trauma comes from issues that parents may have that come into, are imprinted on in the DNA of this baby when it's in gestation. Someone who's done a lot of work on themselves is actually really good to have around children and around babies too, because having that pure energy is very beneficial.
Hey everybody, it's Duncan here. I'm so excited to be introducing another one of my contributing authors to our Superconscious Parenting book. This is Lisa Dean. And Lisa, I'm so excited to have you here. Your chapter, The Soulful Mother Journey, is something that really stands out to me. So I'd love you to introduce yourself a little bit and share your background and how your journey has led you into this field of conscious parenting.
Okay, thank you. Yes. So background, children's entertainer. I worked as a nurse for children and have done some babysitting. So this story was that I decided to get pregnant, well, to go try to have a pregnancy when I was around 41. And so I learned about the child culture, a Rosicrucian course called Child Culture, and it teaches how the ancient Greeks treated parenting, especially with the mother. And so the mother was encouraged to visualize what the child was going to be, what attributes, what sort of talents and things like that. That was one of the things. And I decided to start these visualizations before conception, not after conception. And so another thing that the ancient Greeks were teaching was about how they created a sacred space around the mother, a very nurturing and stress-free environment, under the understanding that whatever the mother goes through, the gestating fetus is going through. So the soul is actually feeling all that. And so so that was all part of it. I had some beautiful visualizations. I actually got in touch with the soul of my daughter that wants to come through. And so then I didn't actually get pregnant. And then a few years later, I discovered rebirthing. It was like I was guided to go and find this book, you know, how it leaps off the shelves for you. And it was called Rebirthing in the New Age. And I read this book. And then I realized I needed to do some rebirthing, and I found a mentor. I worked quite hard to find her. I found a mentor who taught me about all the birthing. And of course, I went through my own 10-day rebirthing retreat, dry rebirthing, and then wet rebirthing. And then during that sessions, I discovered how important it is to clear your trauma before you become a mother, and how the birth trauma in the mother and in the hospital staff is in the subconscious mind imprinting itself and recreating itself through the birth of the child. And
Mm,
not just birth, but mainly birth. The biggest trauma is birth trauma. Conception trauma is also a thing. So
mm.
that was my journey. I didn't find out. It took me a long time to find out all the aspects that I needed in order to be properly prepared for motherhood.
Yeah,
And
and so you work with people now on this emotional trauma. Is that's mainly what you work with?
well, it's trauma release for parents, and also
Mm,
I want the whole birthing team to. I want to actually establish birthing teams,
mm,
a doula,
mm-hmm,
um, midwife, doctor, etc., all around the world. I just love to have this happen. When I was wanting to get pregnant, and I went into everything. I found my midwife, I found my doula, etc. But
mm,
all these people weren't very approachable and they weren't very interested. And
mm,
nobody understood what I was doing, actually
mm.
preparing for the coming of the master, which is how the Greeks saw it. The woman prepares for the coming of the master.
Yeah, that's so interesting. We did a home birth, and we had the doula and the midwife, and did it all outside of the system, and you literally it takes a whole team to get it done. So, yeah, I really love that. And so this idea of superconscious parenting, which is what the book's about, and you got a chapter in that. I want anyone who's listening to this, you need to go get a copy of Superconscious Parenting. Check out Lisa's chapter, check out mine and everyone else. And so I would love to ask you a different question, uh, which is, what is superconscious parenting to you? Like what is that? Why would you want to be contributing to this book? What's your definition of that?
Yes, so the super conscious parenting. So the way that I see it is that super conscious is where the soul is before it's conceived.
Hmm.
So any work that you do visualizing before conception is connecting in with superconscious. Then
Mm,
at conception, superconscious is the knowledge of how the situation around conception. So
mm,
conception trauma comes from issues that parents may have,
yeah.
that come into that are imprinted on in the DNA of this baby when it's in gestation. And
Mm,
then the birthing, the whole process. So superconscious is all about the baby, the forming of all the cells
right,
divide
right.
and um, become a baby. And it's not, nobody's thinking about that. There's no robot brain at
Uh,
work there. This is,
y-
well, it's a kind of, it's a super conscious thing. And the birthing is super conscious, but it's a super conscious team, and the mother and the baby are the race, it's all should all be around the mother and the baby. It should all
yeah,
be super conscious connection between mother and baby. And
yeah.
so uh, what happens is most of the team actually get in the way of that for their own convenience. They make it more difficult for that innate knowing that the baby knows what it's got to do, and mum innately knows what she's got to do too.
Yeah, it was so fascinating. Obviously, we went to the hypnobirthing classes and hearing about, the strange idea that men got involved in midwifery. And do you know like midwifery got like it was illegal for a while in Canada and stuff. Like it was just some really weird stuff. Is the business of birthing is it's insane. And so when Harriet was pregnant, Lisa, I made these just for her. I would never. They're just private. But I made superconscious recodes and hypnosis with my voice for her. So I recorded them and went to a studio, recorded these recodes and like talked to her as she would like get herself into a calm state and talk to our, our son. And it was something as we went through all of it, I was like, man, someone in my network is going to take recode and magnetic mind and apply it to this big moment in time of birthing. It's massive and fascinating. You're the first person out of all the parenting authors to talk about the birthing part of parenting, which is obviously the start, but for whatever reason, no one else has covered it. And so you obviously coach people and do lots of different things. How can, if there's a parent or a mother, expecting mother that's listening to this and they're going, yeah, I would like to prepare my superconscious and talk to my unborn child, all these things that you're talking about. How do you work with them? How can they get in touch with you?
Yes. Well, they can get in touch with me via the Superconscious book series website
Yes.
and email me. At the moment, it would be email. There will be free breathing exercises available there. Um, so I can work with people. I like to come to someone's home and I like to work in their environment. Um, Something I didn't mention before is that someone who's done a lot of work on themselves is actually really good to have around children and around babies too, because they're not bringing their stuff into the room. So,
Yeah.
I'm a professional entertainer. I'm great with kids. But the thing is that having that pure energy is very beneficial as well. So, I can work together like coaching. Um, and all it's about trauma release before the rebirthing retreats are intensive. So you do a 10-day dry rebirthing and you do a 10-day wet rebirthing retreat. And you see with the wet rebirthing, the mother and father and they're actually in water. So that's what it's like if you're in the womb,
Yeah,
right? So
interesting.
that's what it's bringing up. So the idea is that it brings up their body memories. They're in the body. The memories are in the body, and they're stuck there. The breathing mechanism has been injured because birth trauma goes in, especially into the breathing mechanism. And so most people can't breathe in an expanded way. And so but I would just love to talk to any parent interested. I just would
Yeah.
love to talk to you and encourage you. And for me, it's exciting because when I was doing it, I didn't have anybody. And
Right.
from what you're saying, is you did it. You had your wife, obviously. I don't know whether you would have found you'd had support. For me, with the midwife, she wasn't interested. The doula didn't want to talk to me until after the baby was conceived, at least, probably 3 months or something like
And so
that.
you get to be that support for others, which is really nice. So I love that. And so yeah, if anyone's out there's going, you know what, this sounds like something I should do, either the rebirthing, the emotional clearing, or just, all this connection with the unborn child sounds fascinating. And so I'll leave your details in the show notes so anybody who wants to reach out to you can. And there's so much more detail in your chapter and all the other chapters of this book. Like the Superconscious Parenting book is man, I'm blown away by the knowledge in there, Lisa. It's a really great book, and I'm excited for anyone listening to go and grab their copy. So we've run out of our time on our short little podcast here. So listeners, you're going to have to go get a book if you want more from Lisa. You're going to have to go and connect with her on the website or send her an email. We'll put all that details underneath. And so I so appreciate you, Lisa, and your contribution to the book and to the work and Magnetic Mind. Do you have any final message or insight or anything you want to share with the listeners today?
Yeah, the thing that I want the listeners to take away from this is that conception trauma is a thing and birth trauma is a thing. And we have an elaborate way of releasing the trauma, actually getting to the trauma. And by clearing this birth trauma now, it can go into the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. So it will change a whole timeline of families.
Wow. I get it. I get it. So listeners, go grab your copy, Clear Emotional Trauma, read Lisa's chapter and mine and all the others. Lisa, I appreciate you. Listeners, stay focused, stay super conscious, get your copy of our book, reach out to Lisa, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.